Good evening and welcome back to Prime of My Life. It's Wednesday evening, halfway through the week. Happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day, happy everybody day. I hope you've had a good one. This evening we are talking cash. Mhm. Originally, I was thinking of, how to get something behind you when we're all struggling so much. And I thought, well, okay, so the ultimate aim would be a month's rent, a month's mortgage, a month's roof over your head. That's an awful lot to try and put together. So I was like, right, we need to break it down. So let's get enough for a spare lunch. If you're getting one of those meal deals in the shop or whatever, an extra one of them, and then an extra dinner, and then an extra day's worth of food. And it's like, right, yeah. But what I've noticed is that if I do not have cash, I will spend whatever's on my card. But how many of us have cash nowadays? Not an awful lot. So I have decided that the easiest way to do it is to take out £10 in cash, use what I need to use of it, and any change goes in the jar. So you're starting to build up your change. Now, it might be 20 pence that you have, it could be a couple of pounds that you have. But if you take out £10 of your money per week and then put whatever's left after you've bought your meal deal, your coffee or whatever, any change goes in the jar. And that will start building up. And it's easier, certainly for me, it seems to be easier to save money if it's in coins. Because if I've got 50 pence left today and then I spend money on the card and I've got 50 pence left the next day, whereas that would be 250 pences in my jar, if it's still in my account and on my card, that's another pound I've got to spend. So it becomes a pound I've got to spend instead of a pound in my savings. So that's my logic behind this, is that we should all start like a little savings pot if we haven't already. And I don't mean to get as big as like doing the cash stuffing and everything. I did think about that, but no, I can't deal with that. But what I can deal with is if once a week I take out however much and whatever's left, then it goes in the jar. And as I say, starting with taking £10 out in cash and using that for, your lunch one day or getting your bread and milk when you're at the supermarket, whatever's left, that's what goes in the jar. And the rest of the week, you can be spending on your card, you can be spending as you would normally, but take something out in cash. And whether it's £10, whether it's £20, take out what you can use, that you would be shopping for anyway, and just shop for it in cash. And hopefully, once you've done that, you will start to see your little jar adding up. So what I'm about to do now, I have here, hang on, I have the jar, which I had before when I was doing the food budget. I'm just going to see what have I got. 20, 40, 60, 80, pound 20, pound 30. So there's about £1.40 in there if you add it all up. So take note, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and ransack my handbag, ransack my pockets. I'm going to clear out the cash that I can find in the house. And then I'm going to start taking my own advice, which I don't do very often. But I really do think it's important to have a stash of cash in the house. Because then it can, I remember years and years ago, before they put a limit on the charges that the banks could do, and I remember if you were like 5 pence over or 5 pence into your overdraft, if you didn't have an overdraft or over your overdraft, it was like £35 charge per day. It was ridiculous money. Thankfully, that got stopped and I actually managed to claw some of that back. But I remember losing nearly a month's wages because what I did was I paid everything direct debit, took the rest out in cash, and never looked at my bank. And I did it that month, and I was like, oh my, and I went into the bank and I was like, what have you done? And they're like, oh, you were 8p over. It's like £35 a day for 8p over. Are you having a laugh? And thankfully, eventually that got changed. But you just never know when, especially if you've got direct debits for like your electricity bills, where they can go up. You know, if you get charged more, you pay more. So if you've got a direct debit or something that is variable, you're much better having cash in the house that you can start building up bit by bit, because, you know, even sometimes a couple of pounds if you run out of bread or milk, that's enough to get you that loaf that you need. Or that lunch, which then becomes the dinner, which then becomes a week's groceries, which will hopefully eventually become that month's worth of nest egg for you. So yeah, that's my cunning plan for today. And so we're going to put it out there as a Prime of Midlife challenge. It's £10 a week, or £5 a week, but it's £10 you can get out the machine. £10 a week, and put the change in your bowl, or in your jar, or in your stash, whatever. And let's see how we get on. But as I say, I'm going to have to go and get all the, what we call shrapnel, just your twos and your ones, because they do eventually add up. So I am going to go and do that, and I will catch you later.